There's no doubt that Doom is one of the most iconic franchises when it comes to first-person shooters, such a prestige history. Doom the Dark Ages continues that prestige, but in a different manner. I almost feel spoiled by Doom at this point. Dark Ages is once again of such premium quality, but the bar that's been set by id Software is so high. Dark Ages is another fantastic entry, but what makes it better is how it defines modern Doom's legacy. Video game sequels at this point are often extensions of a core concept rather than a reimagining, fleshing out the existing systems than building new ones entirely. Jumps from Marvel's Spider-Man to Spider-Man 2, God of War to God of War Ragnarok, Gears 4 to Gears 5, you get the point. What I love about the modern Doom trilogy is that it's a modern Doom trilogy unlike anything else. Every game since 2016 has had its own unique core to it. Doom 2016 has a story that is told through audio cues and environmental storytelling, ammo aplenty, and a playstyle of your choice. Doom Eternal put a major emphasis on traversal and exploration, and a real focus on one way to take down each enemy. Doom the Dark Ages asks, how does it feel to become medieval Captain America, whose favourite game is Sekiro Shadows Die Twice? It's very rare to receive a trilogy of games in a franchise, and yet each of them offer a different core experience whilst remaining true to one thing, being the Doomslayer. The Dark Ages has done it once again. This is the most story-driven Doom I've ever encountered, and it's got the grandest scope for a Doom game yet. To be honest, it doesn't all work for me, to the point where it's actually a flawed game, and I still don't mind that. In fact, I appreciate the effort. Despite the fact that some gameplay elements aren't on par, those moments help make this game distinctly Doom the Dark Ages. There's no doubt that piloting a giant mech or riding a Doom Dragon is great in concept and help change up the formula at least at the start, but when matched up against the foundation of the boots on the ground Doom slaying, it's chalk and cheese. That when I'm doing my 50th perfect dodge to supercharge my cannons whilst riding the dragon, all I'm thinking is, man, I can't wait to get that next upgrade on my shield. I wonder what the next enemy type is going to be. I wonder what Doomslayer's gym split is. The campaign in particular, I thought, was just okay. I didn't really care for any of the characters other than Slayer, but what the campaign does do is remind us all that Doomslayer is just infinitely aura farming at this point. id Software just know how to give Slayer a commanding, terrifying presence. It's very reminiscent of Master Chief's presence to the Covenant in Bungie's Halo days. Don't get me wrong, Halo's campaigns are much better, but I mean how the campaign uses its moments to highlight the significance of Chief in the same way that id do with Doomslayer. For people like me who aren't well versed in Doom lore, it just felt like a classic case of good versus evil, good guy equals good, bad guy equals bad. When the Slayer's on screen, I'm in. Otherwise, it's pretty forgettable. For as much as I don't really care for any character moments here, there are some brilliantly produced cutscenes in terms of action and spectacle. But more importantly, they cement the level of power for the Slayer. And I think that really matters too, by the way. It's all well and good being this big demonic presence in gameplay, but in cutscenes you also want that to shine through, and it does. I appreciate id's attempt to put together a story here, and there are some memorable moments, but it's not a story as a whole I'm going to think about anytime soon. Yet, I think it kind of served its purpose. Really though, if you come into Doom, you know what you're coming for, and that's the gameplay. Whilst Doom 2016 is probably the most focused Doom package, I loved Doom the Dark Ages. 3 reasons. A good video game parry can go so far in terms of satisfaction, see Expedition 33 for case in point. Point 2, the game grants you freedom in how to approach on your own terms. And point 3, Captain America if he was a medieval godlike demon hunter. Like if Captain America was done by Zack Snyder. The parry in this video game has got that crunch. A good video game parry is only as good as the audio cues that go alongside it, and Doom has got that parry down. There's a lot said about this being a slower Doom, more tanky. I agree with tanky. Slower? Nah. I am up in those bosses' faces, parry after parry after parry, super shotgun, bang. I like the risk and reward playstyle of being up in an enemy's face, getting those multiple parries and doing big damage. And that plays into point 2. This is Doom on your terms. In Doom Eternal, some enemies had a singular way or weapon of taking them out. Doom the Dark Ages says, nah, fuck that. This is your Doom, your playstyle. You want to just use one weapon? You can build around ammo regen with that one weapon. You want to utilize all your tools? Go for it. There is no singular way to take out most enemies, though some are focused around parrying. It also goes back to that parry. Later in the game, you pick up runes that have an impact via parrying, like a ground wave attack, generating seekers to go after enemies, and more. It's all about your playstyle. AoE damage, focus one enemy, and the list goes on. Point number 3, that shield was such a clever addition to this game. Its ability to teleport you across the battlefield, to lodge your shield into the enemy, stun him, shoot off both arms, and leave them literally begging you to kill them. And of course, that parry, as I mentioned. Whether it's causing heat damage to shields and shattering them with your own, I mean, when I talk about feedback, id understand the core loop of good feedback. What makes it feel so good when you're in amongst it. I think here, especially in Dark Ages, the enemy designs complement Slayer's arsenal and upgrades wonderfully. Whilst in Eternal, most enemies felt like there was one correct way of taking them out. For many of the brute enemies here, I felt like I had options. That feeling as a player is an empowering one. Not to mention that many of the designs just look outstanding for these enemies. Of course, there are 2 other notable additions to Doom's combat that we need to discuss. The dragon riding and the mech combat. To be honest, yeah, they're just not great. Thankfully, they don't overstay the welcome. They both focus on the concept of perfect dodging to enhance your attack. Mech combat will generate different power abilities like a powerful bitch slap or a big stomp. The dragon turrets will get an overcharge that does more damage or take down shields around foes. There weren't too many missions in the game with these mechanics, and as a result, their simplicity isn't too bad. Sometimes the spectacle of the mech combat was engaging, but overall these additions didn't work for me. There's no doubt they drag the quality of the game down on the whole, but yeah. Towards the end, the dragon sections, I thought, okay, let's get this over with, but there was a mechanized sequence towards the finale I did actually enjoy. Another divisive topic for many has been Doom's open zone missions. There are some typical straight up linear Doom missions in this game, with some branching pathways, but some missions are quite extensive across a large battlefield. You can just go straight for the main objective if you want, of course, but much of Doom's overall progression asks you to explore these zones and pathways to collect unlocks, some of which are purely cosmetic, some are collectibles in the form of toys, and some of them are gameplay enhancers. For example, there is rubies that allow you to upgrade the 2nd or 3rd skill of a weapon skill tree, or these crystals that allow you to unlock the final skill progression for that gun to have the most devastating impact. To really feel the punch these guns pack at their highest peak, you do want to be getting these upgrades and therefore upgrading them, so the game is asking you to engage in its exploration. Now, I personally don't hate it, but there was a few moments in the main story I'm like, alright, something's going on in the story, I want to see what's next, and yet the map just opens up with a ton of exploration to go and do. So I'm asking myself the question, can I be arsed trekking back there to get another ruby, or do I just carry on? Luckily, the map is pretty forthcoming in telling you what the secret is if you go near it, and there are these elite enemies on the map that once killed will provide a significant buff like to your health or the amount of ammo for a particular gun, and to get those, they actually ended up as some of the most thrilling encounters the game had to offer. So, critically, I'm a mixed bag on it. It just, to me, doesn't feel inherently Doom. I don't mind the secret pathways and the side corridors, but entire zones, I'd almost rather they double down on their challenge system that nets you gold or gets you a gun skin once you've completed a certain challenge per mission or per gun. I asked myself, and maybe it's a bit cynical, are all the side collectibles, the dragonflights and the mech combat there to enhance the experience, or are they to justify the 70 quid price point in length? The answer is, I'm not sure. I guess it speaks to certain individuals over others. I've spoken about Doom staples, and of course, we cannot overlook the soundtrack of a Doom game. The The thing is, I don't even know if I can say whether it was good or bad. All I do know is two things. One, the absence of Mick Gordon is definitely felt when you do hear it. Two, audio mixing is just really poor in this game. That most of the time, I feel like I could barely hear the soundtrack anyway, or if that was purposefully the case. It's an almost impossible act to follow. Yet, I will say, there were 2 or 3 moments in the game where I was like, alright, this soundtrack is starting to hit. But there was some weird audio mixing going on there that I don't even feel like I can judge the soundtrack at all. On the flip side, God, I love this medieval aesthetic. id Tech 8 is a delight. Outstanding optimization, but the art direction and the performance to match is what makes this experience shine. You do move at a real pace through the game, yet so many times I stop to marvel at just how good this game could look. Combining sci-fi with medieval can be one of the coolest things, and id nailed that part of the game. And I mismentioned it in the gameplay section, but the guns as well, I thought were really great additions here. That's also why the Dark Ages comes into its own. Sure, it offers something different on a gameplay front, but it does on a visual front just the same, yet it remains true to the overall look and feel of a Doom game. Also, they gave Slayer a sick cloak, and that goes a long way to adding even more presence to this guy. It comes back to the fact that there are problems in this game. The story, the dragon riding, the mech combat, and the exploration do lower the quality of the overall experience. The thing is, I just don't really care, because it's good fucking Doom. Those moments in combat, I'm not thinking about, oh, this is just an optional arena. Instead, I'm thinking, fuck yes, mate, this is so sick. The power fantasy it grants, the flow of it, that sure, we can all put our cynical, critical cap on, but we must also remember that if you're having a great time and so much fun in the moment, how much does that really matter? I think at this point, we've almost been spoiled by id. As I said right at the top, the bar is so high for this franchise that to still reach it and apply a totally different core loop is a massive achievement. That upon finishing the campaign, I'm like, ah yeah, they did it again, I guess. That for many other franchises to get to the end of an experience like that, that would be the pinnacle for that franchise. But for Doom, it's just more Doom. I do hope that id go and do something completely different now. Maybe they could go and do another Doom and surprise us with yet another unique entry. But I think I'd like to see them give something else a go. Maybe that's Quake, maybe that's something entirely different. Regardless, I respect id and Doom the Dark Ages a lot. They could have reverted back to 2016, or they could have doubled down on Eternal. Instead, they once again changed what a Doom experience could be, whilst keeping its fundamentals intact. They know how to make a fluid, fun-feeling game. It's got its problems, and I think those problems are only highlighted further as a result of their success in how good it feels to be chaining from demon to demon, ripping and tearing. A trilogy so good, we've almost taken for granted just how brilliant these games are. Doom the Dark Ages doesn't quite beat 2016 for me, yet it cements this modern Doom trilogy as one of the most unique, unorthodox trilogies in video games. Let me know, what do you think about this Doom trilogy? What do you think of Doom the Dark Ages? Which entry is your favourite? I'd love to hear from you on this one. If you enjoyed the video, all you gotta do is like it. I really appreciate it and it helps me out so much. If you're new here, I talk about the video games I'm passionate about that I really enjoy, so if you want more of that, consider subscribing. All my socials are linked in the description down below. Other than that, I hope you have a terrific day. Play games, get gains, and I'll catch you in the next one.